Hello once again, everyone. I'm Bob Barsha with ESPN road racing analyst David Hobbs in Del Mar, California, site of the final round of the 1991 International Motorsports Association Camel GT Series. It's time to take a look back on the year that was, and David, it was one of the most competitive ever.
It certainly was, Bob. For 20 years, really, the IMSA series has been dominated by Porsche, but this year we had the most fantastically competitive year ever. 5 different winners. Jaguar came in looking incredibly strong. Unfortunately, were knocked out very early on at Daytona. But then, as the season progressed, some very surprising things happened. The Intrepid, with the normally aspirated Chevrolet engine, finally really got its act together and had a great win. Also had some tremendous showings. But probably the biggest surprise of the year was the Toyota. As we came into the sprint part of the season, right in the middle, with the short, tough races, everybody thought the Jaguar and the Nissan would be supreme in this type of racing. And the new Toyota, with our little 2.3-liter 4-cylinder engine, won 2 more races.
It was a spectacular season, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll be back in a moment to take you back to the beginning of the year and one of the classic sports car events of all time, the Sunbank 24 at Daytona. The IMSA Season in Review is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Welcome back to our review of the IMSA Camel GT season 1991. It all began more than 10 months ago in Daytona Beach, Florida, at one of the classic events in all of sports car racing, where the grand dame of the Camel GT series proved that she is not yet ready to give up her hold on victory lane. The Sunbank 24 at Daytona began under gray skies on a damp track, putting an emphasis on experience as well as reliability. French veteran Bob Wallach put one Porsche on the pole, then switched to the sister car, number 7, joining an international quartet of drivers to claim his 4th win in the Daytona Classic. Despite early damage, the number 83 Nissan, crewed by defending series champion Jeff Brabham, Chip Robinson, and Derek Daly, was among 8 different leaders as day turned to night. The dominant team in the series since 1988, Nissan was still looking for their first Daytona victory. But the Yost Racing entry, driven by Wallach, Hurley Haywood, Frank Jelinski, Henri Pescarolo, and John Winter, took the lead in the 15th hour and won by a stunning 18 laps over Brabham, Robinson, and Daly. For Haywood, the win was his 9th in races of 12 hours or more, making him the winningest endurance driver in history. From the high banks of Daytona, the Camel GT cars moved to the sprint course at West Palm Beach, Florida. There, Davy Jones atoned for a poor Jaguar performance at the 24 hours by leading all but 1 lap for his first victory of the season. The race marked a smashing debut for the new Chevrolet-powered Intrepid. Wayne Taylor drove the totally new car to a 2nd-place finish. Jeff Brabham finished 3rd and took over the series points lead, seeking a 4th straight Camel GT championship. For Jones, a 12-year veteran of international racing at age 27, the win began a pattern that would carry throughout the 91 season. Frequent victories separated by frustrating failures. For the Jones boy, 1991 would be spent in a season-long game of catch-up.
We set the pace, and I hope that this is a trend for the season, and you know, my compliments to the whole team. They did a tremendous job, and I'm very pleased, but there's a long way to go and a lot to learn.
Round 3, the legendary 12 Hours of Sebring, was again a Porsche versus Nissan affair. Porsche led early in the hands of Daytona winner Bob Wallach until a shift linkage broke. Jeff Brabham, driving with Derek Daly and younger brother Gary, led a Nissan 1-2 from the 3rd hour on. Rain forced the field under yellow for more than 3 hours, during which the 84 Nissan of Chip Robinson, Bob Earl, and Julian Bailey held the lead. But with just 16 minutes to go, Robinson lost power and handed the lead back to Brabham. The 84 car returned in time for Nissan's 2nd straight 1-2 Sebring sweep, a family victory the racing sons of Sir Jack Brabham will long remember.
The Nissan ran great. The team did a fantastic job today, and it was really neat to do my first race with Gary, my brother, and we ended up winning it.
Following the checkered flag at Sebring, Florida, the endurance portion of the 91 season was over, and David, it was time to switch into sprint mode.
Yeah, but as Jaguar had proved at Palm Beach, they maintained the pressure as the season unfolded.
The Miami Street Race produced the first pole for the Chevy Intrepid in the hands of Wayne Taylor. Davy Jones put his Jaguar past Taylor on the first lap, but Jones's attempt to duplicate his West Palm Beach win ended at halfway when the engine let go. Into the lead stepped the newest Jaguar recruit, Raul Boesel of Brazil, who grabbed the win in front of his adopted home crowd after holding off the charge of Tom Kendall by less than a second, one of the closest finishes in series history. Jeff Brabham overcame a flat tire to finish third and extended his series points lead, while Boesel became the fourth different winner in as many races in 1991. That streak of different winners lasted until the next race at Road Atlanta, where Jones and Boesel swept the front row. The Jones mount was a new design, the XJR16, and Davy gave it a ride. Meanwhile, points leader Brabham was having problems keeping the red Georgia clay from under his wheels. The Nissan team leader came charging back to second, then watched his race fade when his engine sputtered. In a race without a single yellow flag, Jones took his second win of the year, lapping all but one opponent at a record average of more than 120 miles per hour. The only other driver on the lead lap at the end was Chip Robinson, who kept the Nissan colors flying in the Manufacturers' Championship. Jones thus became the season's first multiple race winner, boosting him to third in the points chase behind Brabham and Robinson, a pattern that would hold for most of the season.
He's Stock Car Racing's all-time winner. He's Stock Car Racing's all-time most popular driver. He's the King, Richard Petty. In this new ESPN home video, The Ride of a Lifetime, Richard Petty and STP, you'll have the chance to come along with me, Dr. Jerry Punch, for a personal visit to Richard's home, and we'll show you classic video footage of Richard's greatest moments. To get your copy, call 1-800-342-3400.
As the 1991 IMSA Camel GT season unfolded, all eyes were on Nissan driver Jeff Brabham to make it an unprecedented 4 driving titles in a row. But as the series rushed through spring and into summer, it was Brabham's Nissan teammate who came to the fore. In keeping with the 5 preceding races, round 6 at Heartland Park in Kansas was a gray and rainy day. And once again, Davy Jones and Jaguar were hot, running off into the lead. But this time, Jones had company. Wayne Taylor kept the rapidly improving Chevy Intrepid close and appeared to be in position to claim that first victory until Taylor stalled in the pits. Jones went Taylor one better, stalling during his own pit stop and then spinning with 2 laps to go, allowing Chip Robinson to slip by and score his first win of the season. That win, combined with Jeff Brabham's 5th place finish, boosted Robinson into the lead at the race for the Drivers' Championship, on track to reclaim the title he last won in 1987, driving Porsches for the late Al Holbert.
Well, I just was running as hard as I could, and the car was well balanced at that speed, and I knew I had a good race pace, and you know, at the beginning they just ran away. There wasn't much I could do about it, and then they sort of came back at the end.
On Memorial Day at Connecticut's Lime Rock Park, Tom Kendall had his new Chevy Intrepid en route to victory until halfway when he was bumped off the track by teammate Wayne Taylor. Davy Jones took over the lead, only to be passed by the charging Taylor, whose only redemption would come by winning the race he had accidentally taken from Kendall. But in the closing laps, Taylor tangled with Parker Johnstone. Taylor finished 4th, Johnstone was just plain finished. Jones then moved back out front until he was hit by a slower car, damaging his left front wheel and dropping Davy to 7th. Through all the carnage came the Nissan of Chip Robinson, who overcame a broken throttle of his own with 10 minutes to go and scored his 2nd straight victory, beating the Toyota of Juan Manuel Fangio, with Jeff Brabham 3rd. The win allowed Robinson to open his points lead to 14 over teammate Brabham, 26 ahead of Davy Jones.
I just think a lot of the key is staying out of trouble and seeing what's left in the last 15, 20 laps. I mean, that's what's happened. It's worked for me the last 2 races, and you know, I didn't lose any time early on, and that really proved, I think, to be beneficial.
Just 6 days later at Mid-Ohio, the Intrepid duo of Kendall and Taylor were on the front row, but Davy Jones swept past Kendall on lap 7 and led the rest of the way. 2nd place was decided when Kendall spun. A new front wing brought added stability to the Jaguar, and the power of a twin-turbo V6 engine carried Jones to his 3rd win of the year. For the Intrepids, there was the frustration of seeing that first win go astray again. For Jones, there was the satisfaction of ending Jeff Brabham's 3-race Mid-Ohio winning streak and tying Brabham for 2nd in the points, just 12 behind leader Robinson.
we're so dedicated to winning a championship here for Camel, and we've tried 3 years, and I think this is our year for the Bud Light Jaguar team. And that's all that was on my mind. And, you know, right down to the very last corner of the last lap, I was just, you know, giving it everything I had. I don't know how much further I could have gone.
The first New Orleans street race was full of surprises, beginning with Englishman Perry McCarthy's pole in a normally aspirated Chevy Spice. McCarthy led the way to the pits when rain began to fall a few minutes into the race. Jeff Brabham elected to stay out, hoping the rain would stop. When it didn't, he found the wall. When rain comes, traction goes, as Davy Jones discovered, nearly bringing out the yellow flag before the green waved on this restart. Both his and Raul Boesel's Jags eventually retired with broken suspensions. Or how about this three-way pirouette between Chip Robinson, Tom Kendall, and the late arriving Jeff Brabham? Wayne Taylor jumped to the front by staying out on slicks, gambling the race would be ended early. He managed to stay on the lead when the skies truly opened, the wind blew an awning onto the track, and race officials decided enough was enough 15 minutes short of the finish. A victory is a victory, and for the remarkable Chevy Intrepid, the question was not whether it would come, but when. Watkins Glen has been the spiritual home of American road racing for over 40 years. It has not been a happy place for the Jaguar team. In the last 3 years, the Tom Walkinshaw Racing Jags have failed to finish the race twice. 1991 was no different. On lap 10, Raul Boesel was bumped off the track by Jeff Brabham and backed hard into the tire barriers. Boesel was unhurt. 50 laps later, Tom Kendall was less lucky. Somehow, Kendall survived the impact and, despite severe injuries to his legs, managed to wave to the crowd. When the race resumed, Toyota suddenly demonstrated new competitiveness. Juan Fangio scored his first victory of the season for Dan Gurney's team. Behind him, Brabham picked up much-needed second-place points, moving into a tie with Chip Robinson, who finished third, while Davy Jones struggled home 13th. Fangio's win signaled the arrival of a new spoiler. Toyota could not be counted out.
The team did a wonderful job. They did a wonderul job in the pit stop. And also they did a wonderful job during the season because they didn't give up. They keep working all the time. They keep working for any kind of position, for fifth, for 10, or for first.
As the 1991 IMSA Camel GT season moved into late summer, all eyes were on the developing championship battle between Nissan drivers Jeff Brabham and Chip Robinson and Jaguar man Davy Jones. But beginning at Laguna Seca, California, a new element was added to the equation with the latest creation from Dan Gurney's All-American Racers. While Wayne Taylor picked up another pole for the Chevy Intrepid at Laguna Seca, all eyes were on the newest entry from Toyota, the Eagle Mark III. Juan Fangio gave the competition plenty to think about by passing Taylor for the lead and running off at will. The Toyota team even won its share of the pit stop wars. Such is the pace of development in IMSA's Camel GT series that the Nissans, state-of-the-art just a year ago, were outclassed by the newest generation of equipment represented by the Mark III. But human error prevented a debut win. With the field under caution, Fangio raced past a red flag at the pit exit. He was brought back for a penalty stop, dropping him to 7th place. The beneficiary of Fangio's misfortune was Jaguar. Davy Jones racked up win number 4 on the season, but lurking behind was Jeff Brabham, with teammate Chip Robinson 5th. That left Jones trailing Brabham by 21 points for the championship, Robinson by 14, with just 3 races to go. The series moved next to Portland, Oregon, where Fangio proved that the performance of the new Toyota at Laguna Seca was no fluke. Points leader Brabham led the first 86 laps on the Portland road course, hoping to snap a personal streak of 8 races without a victory, his longest drought in 3 years as series champion. But Fangio had other ideas, and with 10 laps to go, he pounced, taking the lead from Brabham in traffic and holding him off from there to score his 2nd win of the season, atoning for the Laguna Seca disaster and earning the first win for the new Eagle Mark III. Jeff Brabham firmed up his grip on a possible 4th straight championship by finishing 2nd, while teammate and title rival Chip Robinson lost out to Fangio's teammate Rocky Moran for 3rd in the closing laps. Davy Jones finished 5th, leaving Brabham 13 points up on Robinson and 29 on Jones. The championship took a hard turn at Road America, where Davy Jones once again dominated. Jones set the fastest race average speed in Camel GT history, more than 122 miles an hour. Derek Daly drove the number 83 Nissan, standing in for Jeff Brabham, who suffered a massive crash in practice. Chip Robinson drove the number 1 car, locking up Nissan's third straight manufacturer's title by finishing second, moving past Brabham into the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Jones did nearly everything he could on the day, but he failed to set fast lap of the race, missing by just 19 one-thousandths of a second to Robinson, costing Jones 3 bonus points. Still, his 5th victory of the year brought Jones within 10 points of Robinson, with Brabham between them. That set up a 3-way title showdown in the series finale in Southern California.
We came here to win, and now we've got 5-6 weeks until Del Mar, and hopefully we can go away, think about this race, and go to Del Mar and do the same.
And so 1991 came down to a 3-way showdown at Del Mar, California. Driving in pain, Jeff Brabham needed help and got it. On lap 63, Chip Robinson crawled to the pits. For the second time in 3 years, a broken axle at Del Mar cost the '87 champion his shot at the title. 4 laps later, the Jones challenge ended when Davy's Jaguar spun and clipped the concrete wall. Attrition also claimed Wayne Taylor and the record-setting Chevy Intrepid with transmission failure. Outrunning the field once again was the new Toyota Eagle Mark III, carrying Juan Fangio to his 3rd victory of the year, the 2nd for the amazing new car. Behind Fangio and John Paul, Brabham finished 3rd, clinching his 4th title and sweeping driver and manufacturer honors for Nissan. His dramatic comeback made this year's championship very special to Brabham.
This is totally different, last year I came in with a 19-point lead and really all I had to do was finish, and this year I came in with sore ribs and a sore back and -3 points, and I knew I had a uphill struggle, but the car worked good, and I had a bad luck at Elkhart, but I had some good luck here, so it was a struggle, but in the end it was worth it.
With that, the 1991 season came to a close. And Jeff Brabham, after an absolutely remarkable comeback from serious injuries, clinched the title. His 4th and a consecutive 4th at that. Afterwards, Bob Varsha spoke with him.
Jeff, following your first 3 championships, which were won in dominating fashion, we came to expect to see you out front. But 1991 has been an up-and-down season, from the spin at Road Atlanta to the crash at Elkhart Lake. How do you look back at the season? Did you ever really feel in control of things?
We started off really strong. I came out of Florida with a good points lead. Then I went into a 4-race section where I couldn't do anything right, and I lost the lead, and I really felt that my luck had run out this year. Then I went into a 4-race segment where I finished 2nd every time, and going into Elkhart I had a healthy lead, and I really felt I was going to do it. But then I ended up sitting in hospital for a while and lost the lead, and then had to come back here and do it the last race.
You won just 1 race this year at Sebring, while Davy Jones won 5 and Juan Fangio 3. Yet you finished in the top 3 10 times in 14 starts. Do you look at your title any differently, having won it by consistency rather than outright victory?
I think it makes it better because we proved before that we can win when we had the fastest car, and I think this year the Nissan wasn't the fastest car, but we still proved that we can get out in the alleys and scratch and claw and fight with anybody, and I think I've driven well this year. It's just, some people often gauge driving well with just winning or losing, but really you can finish 2nd or 3rd and feel really good about how you've driven. And I felt a lot of times this year that I've driven well, and, we had to fight for it. So, I'm pretty proud of it, really.
For 3 years now, the closest competition has been the 84 car of your teammate, Chip Robinson. History shows that 2-car teams fail more often than they succeed. Twice you've taken the title in the last race while Chip has suffered breakdowns. What effect does that have on a team relationship?
That's not the way any of us like to see the championship. Both Davy Jones and Chip had problems today, but I don't know, I kind of look at the overall picture. I felt like going into Elkhart, I had everybody covered pretty good, and my bad luck was I didn't get to race there. Chip's bad luck was he had a problem here, but it kind of evens out. I think ultimately right guy won, but I'm going to say that anyway.
How about the future of IMSA's Camel GT Series? Given your success, no one could blame you for wanting to keep things just as they are. But change is a given in all forms of motor racing. What do you see as the strengths and weaknesses of the series? And how would you like to see it evolve in 1992 and beyond, for that matter?
this series needs to grow more. We need more cars. You know, I think we're putting on some pretty good races now, and it's just a matter now of the championship and the series getting to the next level. You know, more money, more prestige, more cars, and if that can happen, I think we have something that a segment of the population really likes to see. You know.
You've won 4 titles in a row, something no driver has ever done before. You're at or near the top of virtually every category of success in IMSA racing. What are your plans for the future? Is there anything left to accomplish?
There's lots of things. You know, we haven't won Daytona yet, and I know that's a big goal for Nissan. And but you know, basically, you know, winning the last race is fine, but it's history. The only thing that counts now is the next race, you know, and the next championship. And you know, if someone's got to win it next year, it may as well be me, as far as I'm concerned.
Camel GTP Racing's not just those big cars. There's a division there called Camel Lights, and this year it was absolutely dominated by Parker Johnston. The strength of the Acura Parker Johnstone Challenge was evident right from the get-go at Daytona in February. Johnstone took the pole, and he and his 3 co-drivers dominated the race, despite a long pit stop at one stage that cost them 40 minutes. Johnstone subsequently went on to take another 11 poles and 7 more wins, dominating the Drivers' Championship, which ironically he locked up at Laguna Seca despite being parked in pit lane at the checkered flag. Johnstone's performance tended to overshadow the division somewhat, but David Tennyson in the Ferrari Spice had 2 wins and enough strong placings to take second spot from Jim Pace in a Buick Kudzu, who also took 2 wins. These victories, plus great consistency throughout the season, kept Buick in contention for the prestigious manufacturer's title right to the final round at Del Mar. For this event, Acura added a second car driven by regular frontrunner Ruggero Malgradi. The strategy worked as with a perfect 1-2, Acura delivered the knockout punch and locked up the manufacturer's title.
He's Stock Car Racing's all-time winner. He's Stock Car Racing's all-time most popular driver. He's the king, Richard Petty. In this new ESPN home video, The Ride of a Lifetime, Richard Petty and STP, you'll have the chance to come along with me, Dr. Jerry Punch, for a personal visit to Richard's home, and we'll show you classic video footage of Richard's greatest moments. To get your copy, call 1-800-342-3400.
And that concludes our ESPN Speed World look at the 1991 IMSA Camel GT season. It was a great year, David, and 1992 should be even better.
I think it'll be a classic, Bob. Jaguar, Nissan and Toyota are all coming back, and I'm looking for the Chevrolet Intrepids to do very well next year as well. Probably the most exciting development, though, is the new GTP Mazda, powered by the same engine that won the Le Mans 24-hour race this year. And talking of the Le Mans 24-hour race, there's rumors that the Daytona 24-hour race next year may become part of the World Championship for sports cars, which would be good for everybody. And Max Mosley, the new worldwide supremo of auto racing, came to an IMSA race last summer, liked what he saw a lot, so hopefully the rules will become more compatible, which will be better for everybody. Should be a great season.
I agree with that, and it all begins on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway next spring. We hope you'll join us for that. For David Hobbs, I'm Bob Varsha. Thanks for being with us. So long from Del Mar, California. The IMSA Season in Review has been brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. In addition to the flagship Camel GTP division, 1991 saw championships decided in each of IMSA's support series. From newcomers to legends, Mossport to Long Beach, the supporting cast put on some of the best production-based sports car contests in recent memory. For IMSA's Exxon Supreme GTO series, in the end, tenacity paid off for the Mazda team. But the endurance season commenced with familiar success for the Whistler-sponsored Ford Mustangs. Armed with 5 championships in 6 years, the heavily favored Roush cars swept Daytona 1, 2, and 3, making young Robbie Gordon 4 for 4 at IMSA's longest and toughest event, before winning Sebring in March. But Ford's endurance package would be replaced with all new Mustangs set for Miami. Meanwhile, the Mazda RX-7s racked up a 1-2 finish at West Palm Beach, with Pete Halsmer scoring the win. At Miami, Halsmer made it 2 in a row for the sprint events. While Gordon collected a pair of seconds at Miami and Long Beach, the latter would be Halsmer's only DNF of the season, and Steve Millen's first win of the year for Nissan. Halsmer came back with a win at Mossport, followed by a runner-up finish to Nissan's Jeremy Dale at Mid-Ohio. Price Cobb's back-to-back victories at New Orleans and Laguna Seca enhanced Mazda's chances at the coveted manufacturer's title. Nissan's Steve Millen claimed 3 more wins at Road America, Watkins Glen, and Lime Rock Park. Winless since Sebring, Ford's Robbie Gordon scored a triple round of victories at Portland, Road Atlanta, and the season closer at Del Mar, California, finishing runner-up in the Exxon Supreme GTO Championship. 3-race winner Peter Halsmer edged out Gordon 201 to 197, bringing Mazda its first driver and manufacturer championships in IMSA's premier showcase for production-based cars. Halsmer's teammate Cobb ended the season 3rd overall, followed by Nissan teammates Jeremy Dale and Steve Millen 4th and 5th. John Fergus colored the Exxon Supreme GTU series yellow and black, and had the competition seeing red for most of the season, driving his full-time racing Infiniti Dodge Daytona to the GTU division title on Yokohama tires. IMSA's legendary twice-around-the-clock event at Daytona was dominated by the old reliable Greer Racing Mazda RX-7, driven by Dick Greer, Al Bacon, Peter Urea, and Mike Mees. They won Daytona by an impressive 29-lap margin. Although the full-time racing team opted to skip the early endurance events, Fergus and Company's first race at West Palm Beach produced a pole position, fast lap, and a 1-lap margin of victory. The 12-hour classic at Sebring was next, and the Leitzinger Nissan team, racing on Toyo rubber, returned to defend their win. Despite the heavy rains and the loss of their second car early on, Bob Leitzinger and David Loring piloted the Fast Color Auto Art 240 SX to a convincing win. Loring made it 2 in a row at Miami, while John Fergus recorded his only unforced DNF of the season. Fergus collected his second win at Long Beach, followed by another set of victories at Mossport and Mid-Ohio, a track that truly tests a driver's skills. New Orleans found Loring back on top for Nissan after disappointing results at Mossport and Mid-Ohio. Laguna Seca produced a new winner when full-time racing newcomer Jeff Perner edged out John Fergus and David Loring for a controversial debut top-place finish. But Fergus returned to victory lane at Portland and Road America. Loring ended up second in both events. At Atlanta, Perner emerged again victorious. But at Watkins Glen, Fergus and Loring hosted a spectacular race-long duel, ending with Fergus's 7th win of the season. Fergus won yet again at the next-to-last race at Lime Rock, followed by a mechanical DNF at the season-ending Del Mar event. At the season finale, Bob Leitzinger would score his 2nd win of the season and finish 3rd in the championship with a series of top 3 finishes. Between Miami and Del Mar DNFs, Fergus never finished lower than 2nd, scoring 8 wins in 13 starts, an astounding record for a GTU rookie debut. John Fergus captured the title 39 points ahead of Nissan's David Loring, 51 over Loring's teammate Bob Leitzinger. Jeff Perner finished 4th, starting just 7 of 15 events, followed by Nissan's Reed Kreider. Dick Greer became the first recipient of IMSA's newly Designed for Independence All-American Challenge title. After co-driving to a win in the Exxon Supreme GTU division at Daytona, he purchased a 600-horsepower Chevy V8, then patiently accumulated AAC points all year long. With 8 minutes remaining in the season, he drove to the championship points lead at Del Mar and clinched the title. Although he claimed just one win to Phil Curran's 5 and Tommy Riggins' 4, as with most championships, consistency paid well. IMSA's newborn Bridgestone Potenza Supercar Championship made its debut in 1991, and by any measure, it was a super debut. Open to a wide variety of exotic production-based street cars, team entries from Porsche, Lotus, Concealer, Dodge, Pontiac, and Corvette were represented. 1990 GTU Division champion Lance Stewart collected the series' maiden win aboard a Concealer at Lime Rock Park, Connecticut in May. While the series may be IMSA's youngest, its first champion is legendary. Brumos Porsche, a team with extensive historical roots to IMSA, enlisted the services of Hurley Haywood, one of IMSA's winningest active Camel GT drivers. Fresh off a win in the Camel GTP division at Daytona, Haywood scored the Brumos team's first win at the second round at Watkins Glen, followed by another at the fourth round in Portland. In between, sprint car veteran Chet Phillip collected the second win for Concealer at Laguna Seca. For the fifth round at Road Atlanta, the Brumos Porsche team added world-class driver Hans Stuck to the formula. But Doc Bundy scored the win for the Lotus Esprit team in Georgia. Poised to win both the drivers' and manufacturers' title, the Brumos team collected yet another win on the rain-soaked circuit at Road America. Hans Stuck returned to assist Brumos Porsche teammate Hurley Haywood at the season finale at Del Mar. Haywood started Del Mar with a cushion of points, and although the win would go to Hans Stuck, Haywood's fifth-place finish was enough to clinch the Drivers' Championship. The Brumos team's season-long success resulted in the manufacturer's title for Porsche. Rated a virtual toss-up by the oddsmakers, the 1991 Toyo Tires Touring Series had several strong contenders, but no clear-cut favorite. But it didn't take long for Chuck Hemmingson to take charge. Winning 3 of the first 5 races and finishing out of the top 3 only once, Hemmingson captured the 1991 Toyo Tires Touring Series Championship for international sedans. Driving the AmeriCare Oldsmobile 442, Hemmingson also earned the Most Improved Driver Award and helped Oldsmobile clinch the manufacturer's title. Nissan drivers were ready to offer a strong challenge to Hemmingson and his Oldsmobile teammates. Butch Leitzinger, David Loring, Pepe Pombo, and Michael Guido all drove impressive 240SX entries. Independent Cass Whitehead was poised for a banner year in a Nissan 200SX, while defending series champion Garth Ullum, driving an Eagle Talon for Paul Rossi Performance, looked to be a strong contender. Other regular competitors included Bill Topping and John Norris, but it would be Hemmingson and his reliable Oldsmobile 442 collecting the title. Teamwork. IMSA's Firestone Firehawk Endurance Championship Series was created around a team concept, multiple drivers per car. Looking over the results, it's easy to find teams that maximize the teamwork concept. Each of the 1991 Firehawk driving champions came from 2 driver programs. Past Grand Sports champion Joe Vardy made history when he switched car brands 3 races into the season. Vardy switched from the 4-car Camaro Z28 effort to a Porsche 944 S2 Club sports car. The change proved the right move when Vardy earned his second Grand Sports title, clinching the manufacturer's title for Porsche by the biggest margin in the history of the series. Paul Hacker, benefiting from 2 development seasons for Oldsmobile, won his 4th Firehawk sports title aboard his new Cutlass Calais Quad 442. First-time Firehawk Touring champion Peter Farrell had underdog status. He won his first professional championship with the new General Motors Saturn Sport Coupe, upsetting American Honda, the most successful manufacturer in the 7-year history of Firehawk. With Hacker's 4th championship, Vardy's 2nd, and Farrell's 1st, The season rewarded not only veteran experience, but persistence and ingenuity as well.